The mid-season patch for Overwatch 2 just went live, and it comes with a whole series of changes for perks. Let's have a look. The mid-season patch for Season 15 of Overwatch 2 just dropped, and it is bringing the first tuning for perks, the brand new feature that was added at the start of this season. And to be honest, there's quite a few of them. But first, let me highlight some of the other features of this mid-season patch. For instance, there's the SSERAFIM collab that started today, and that is adding 5 new skins and 5 recolors of the old skins to the shop. On top of that, the Junkrat skin that was part of the previous version is also returning. But that's about everything there is to say about this event. Nonetheless, I've noticed that a lot of people are very excited for this event, so have fun. Besides that, there's the return of goats in the next chapter of Overwatch Classic. This edition offers a snapshot of the experience of the game as it was being played back in September 2018. That's a long time ago. They added heroes like Moya, Wrecking Ball, and of course Brigitte, on top of maps like Blizzard World, Rialto, and Busan. Now, in those early patch notes that we got, there was no mentioning of 6 vs 6 competitive, but it is still happening. It might just be a little later. However, the Mythic weapon skin for Widowmaker did drop today. It is called Dame Chance, and apparently it is a gift from Maximilian for Widowmaker. That's smooth, Omnic. The biggest part of the patch notes were, of course, balancing changes, which are almost all changes to the perks. Quite a lot of them, and most of them are buffs. But let's run over all of them. The Junker Queen, Deep Wounds. Extended wound duration increased from 0.25 to 0.5 seconds. So anytime she hits a target that is bleeding with Scattergun, it will increase the bleed by 0.5 seconds instead of 0.25, which is double. So pretty big. Ramata, Prolonged Barrier, now additionally increases the size of the Void Barrier by 25%. So on top of having it last longer, it's also going to be bigger. Yeah, don't pull this phrase out of context, please. Rain is actually getting 2 changes. Shield Slam, the cooldown is reduced from 8 to 6 seconds. And Crusader's Resolve, the passive regeneration trigger rate increased from 50 to 75%. I like the Shield Slam. It makes him into a huge-ass Brigitte. And having that on a shorter cooldown, it is going to be fun. On top of that, having his regen trigger 75% faster, that is substantial. I'm never going to complain when Ryan gets buffs. Nope, not going to happen. Forget about it. Roadhog, Hog Toss, now also increases the damage of Pigpen by 25%. So Hog Toss will actually increase the distance at which he can throw his trap. And now, since today, it's also going to increase the damage. I like it. I always found his trap to be underwhelming when it comes to the damage, so bring it. Winston, Short Circuit. The damage versus deployable objects is increased from 30 to 50%. Yeah, look, with all of these turrets that were added and how flexible they are, he deserves that little buff. And for the last tank, Wrecking Ball. Transfer efficiency. The alley transfer cost reduction increased from 33% to 50%. And that is for those balls that roll with a team, which there are not a lot of on my rank. A very rare sight. Let's have a look at the DPS. And we start out with one that we already heard about before, that they talked about. Bastion, the self-repair, now has a resource required to heal. I think this is one of the few nerfs on this whole list, and a very necessary one. I think we can all agree. Cassidy, Pass Known. The ultimate charge refunded increased from 30 to 40%. So when you set off your ultimate and it runs out because everybody's ducking behind the car, you'll actually get 40% back instead of 30. Next up is Genji, and he's getting a triple set of changes. Acrobatics now also resets double jump on wall climb. Meditation, healing increased from 25 to 35 health per second. Blade Twisting, duration after an elimination to trigger bonus damage increased from 6 to 10 seconds. The bonus damage is now dealt over 1 second instead of 2. So, before Swift Strike would reset your double jump. Now Wall Climb will do the same thing, and that is a huge buff for his mobility. Meditation actually regens health while you're deflecting, and starting today, it's going to do that a little better. And finally, doing Swift Strike within 10 seconds instead of 6 after an elimination will do bonus damage over 1 second instead of 2. That is quite a substantial buff. And I mean, a lot of Genji players had been complaining that they did not like the perks. Well, I think that's fixed. Alright, time for the demon. May. Permafrost no longer increases cooldown of Ice Wall. They talked about all of this in a recent interview. They want to get rid of those perks that have the tit for tat thing going, where there's basically a disadvantage for the buff that you're getting. And this is a good example. Pharah, Helix Shields. Converted shields increased from 75 to 125. She takes 125 HP and turned that in 125 shield. Reaper, dire triggers. Recovery time reduced from 0.9 to 0.7 seconds. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one. His perk-bound right-click is getting a buff. Soldier 76, Stim Pack. Cast time reduced from 0.4 to 0.15 seconds. The Stim Pack anti-heal is now cleansable. So, if a soldier turns his healing can into a Stim Pack, he'll cast it a lot faster than he did before, and the debuff that it brings with him, which is a 4-second anti-heal, will be cleansable. So kind of removing the drawback. Interesting. Sombra, Stack Overflow. The range penalty reduced from 30% to 15%. White Hat. The hack is now uninterruptible from damage when healing allies. I mean, that's another example of them removing the tit for tat thing. Well, in this case, lower the tit part. That sounded weird. Again. I'm on a roll here. But they did say that they wouldn't replace this one in Season 16, so I think it's just a temporary measure. And the heal now being uninterruptible, that is going to be fun for those special Sombras, the nice ones. Okay, time for some nerfs. And the first changes we got to base abilities. Torbjorn, Deploy Turret. The base health was reduced from 250 to 225. And the turret damage was reduced from 13 to 12. So that is the base ability change I was talking about. A huge nerf to the turret, but with all of the perks that he has, kind of understandable. Craftsman now additionally increases Deploy Turret base health by 25. The Torbjorn Hammer is the gift that keeps giving. Tracer, Quantum Entanglement. The overall duration increased from 3.5 to 6 seconds. So Recall will give you 50 overhealth, and now it's going to fade away in 6 seconds instead of 3.5. Okay. Supports. Baptiste, Assault Burst. The attack speed increased from 20 to 30%. Automated healing. Healing per shot is increased from 25 to 30. So Regenerative Burst will give you 30% of a speed boost instead of 20. And while your amplification field is up, that little turret that is up on the shoulder will do even more healing than it did before. Nice. Brigitte, Barrier Restoration. After shield bashing, Brigitte gains 30% movement speed for 1.5 seconds. So on top of healing her shield when she shield bashes, it's also going to give her a movement buff. Oh my god. Yari, Solar Rifle. The weapon recharging is no longer paused while using quick melee. Summer Solstice additionally provides 30% increased attack speed while Captive Sun is active. So that first one is another basic kit change, a little buff. And the next one is when she actually is floating around when using her ult for 3 seconds longer. She's also getting an attack speed buff. I want to try that one. I'm playing quite a lot of Yari lately, so... Juno, Reboots. Now also increases the duration of glide boost by 25%. This is another one that they already talked about during an interview. So the glide boost will not only reset the double jump, but also last a little longer, 25%, thanks to this perk. Life Weaver, Super Bloom. Damage increased from 30 to 40. Number of hits to trigger increased from 16 to 20. The window of time to land those hits increased from 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. Then Life Weaving, the bonus to Healing Blossom heal increased from 20 to 30. So Super Bloom added 20 extra damage to your thorns if you manage to get enough shots in within a certain window, and that window was 60 shots in 1.5 seconds. Now today they raised the number of shots you need to land to 20, but that window in which you can do it also went up to 2.5 seconds. So the net result is that it should be easier to do. On top of that, the damage it actually does went up from 20 to 30, which is substantial. And for Life Weaving, Rejuvenating Dash will add 30 extra healing instead of 20 extra healing to your next Blossom. A nice bump up. Alright, the last one, an important one, although I'm not sure what to think of it. Mercy, the Flash Heal. The cast time is now reduced from 0.875 to 0.4 seconds. I've been hearing a lot of Mercy mains complain about the perks and that they're not really impactful enough. I don't think this is the one that is going to change that. I think they might have something bigger in mind for the start of Season 16, swapping some things out. So this might be temporary, we'll see. However, that was all of the changes we got. It is quite a lengthy list, but I'm sure it's not going to be long enough for some people. There's definitely going to be players out there that have a few comments, but we just need to hold on. The start of Season 16 is where they're going to do the bigger changes, and it's just around the corner. Not that corner, the other one. Yeah, you got it. Anyway, so what do you think about all of these changes? Let me know in the comments. For now, however, that was it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank my patrons and YouTube members. You too can become a member over on patreon.com/theomnicpost and right here on YouTube to unlock exclusive rewards. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out one of my other videos. But above all, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye bye.